Senate for first time approves a war powers resolution in a rebuke to Trump over Iran conflict. Add AP News as your preferred source to see more of our stories on Google. Add AP News on Google. Add AP News as your preferred source to see more of our stories on Google. Share Washington app. The Senate for the first time approved a war powers resolution Tuesday seeking to block U.S. military action against Iran, as lawmakers warily watch President Donald Trump's efforts to resolve a conflict that the administration launched on its own and now needs Congress to fund. It was the 10th time the Senate has tried to stop the war, and the outcome, on a vote of 50-48, was a stunning turnaround from past efforts. While the resolution is largely symbolic and does not carry the full force of law, it reflects the growing concerns from a number of Republican lawmakers in both the House and Senate over both the war and the deal Trump struck with Iran to end it. The House approved the resolution earlier this month. Trump responded angrily Tuesday night on his Truth Social platform, calling the vote poorly timed and meaningless, and saying it provided aid and comfort to Iran. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer of New York said, "Time after time, the vast majority of Senate Republicans sided with Trump and his war instead of the American people." Schumer said Americans have paid the price for Trump's historic blunder in Iran. "It'll go down in the history books as one of the worst foreign policy forays America has ever made." In the past, as many as 4 GOP senators have voted for the war powers resolutions, and they did so Tuesday. Republicans Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Susan Collins of Maine, Rand Paul of Kentucky, and Bill Cassidy of Louisiana. One Democrat, Sen. John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, voted against. Read more. Trump bashed the 4 Republicans as losers, saying, "These senators have made my job more difficult." On this vote, the absence of 2 Republicans, including Sen. Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, who was admitted to the hospital recently for an undisclosed matter, left the GOP without a full majority to halt the effort. Sen. Dave McCormick, RPAR, also missed the vote. The vote comes as the Pentagon is seeking $80 billion from Congress, mostly for the Iran war, as it backfills munitions and stockpiles. Trump to meet senators as Republicans balk at Iran deal. Trump himself is headed to the Capitol on Wednesday to meet with GOP senators after Vice President J.D. Vance was overseas working to negotiate with Iran to end its nuclear ambitions, which had been among the stated rationales for the war. The president is not pleased with the Republicans who have been critical of the deal he struck with Iran, according to one GOP senator granted anonymity to discuss the private dynamics. The terms of the Iran deal are spelled out in a memorandum of understanding that Trump signed last week, starting a 60-day clock for the sides to reach a broader agreement over ending Iran's nuclear program. But Republicans have particularly objected to the $300 billion fund to help Iran rebuild, which is far greater than the $1.7 billion then President Barack Obama refunded the country under his administration's 2015 Iran deal. "I believe President Trump is getting very poor advice on Iran," Sen. Ted Cruz, Texas, said last week on his podcast after the deal was made public. Democrats have repeatedly forced Iran votes over and again. Democrats have been forcing votes on the Iran war almost since the U.S. and Israel launched missile strikes on Iran on Feb. 28. Nearly each week they are in session, the Senate Democrats have put forward war powers resolutions, but they have failed to amass the majority needed for passage in the narrowly split chamber, where Trump's Republican Party holds the majority. Trump would almost certainly veto any measure that passed. The House pushed its own version to passage earlier this month, with 4 Republicans joining all Democrats in approving the war powers resolution over the objections of House Speaker Mike Johnson and the GOP leadership. While the House and Senate passed resolution does not go to the president for his signature, passage stands as a powerful, if symbolic, statement from Congress and a rebuke of the administration's military actions. Sen. Tim Kaine, the Democrat from Virginia who has led his party's efforts, said the pause in warfighting as Trump's team works to shore up a fragile ceasefire provides the perfect time for Congress to step back and assess what should the next chapter be. Hegseth seeks $80 billion from Congress for the Iran war. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is on Capitol Hill this week.